What if I told you there is a shark alive today that looks more like a sea monster from a nightmare than a real animal? Meet the goblin shark, one of the strangest and most mysterious predators in the ocean. With a long, blade-like snout, ghostly pink skin, and jaws that can launch forward in an instant, this creature looks like it came from another world. But what makes it truly fascinating is that every terrifying feature serves a purpose, and by the end, you'll see why scientists call it a living fossil hiding in the dark. At first glance, the goblin shark looks almost unreal. Its long, flattened snout, called a rostrum, gives it a bizarre appearance unlike any other shark. But this isn't decoration. In the darkness of the deep ocean, where sunlight barely reaches, the goblin shark uses special electroreceptors in its snout to detect tiny electrical signals from prey. Fish hidden in darkness can't stay hidden for long. What looks strange is actually a precision hunting tool, proving the deep sea creates predators by different rules. Unlike the gray or blue sharks people are used to seeing, the goblin shark often appears pale pink. That eerie color comes from blood vessels visible beneath semi-translucent skin. It gives the animal an almost ghost-like appearance, perfect for its legend. But this unusual look is simply part of life in deep water. In an environment without much light, camouflage works differently. The goblin shark doesn't need flashy colors or patterns. It survives in silence, almost like an apparition drifting through darkness. Then comes the feature that made this shark famous. The goblin shark doesn't just bite like most predators. Its jaws can launch outward at astonishing speed to grab prey before it escapes. It's one of the most unusual feeding mechanisms in the animal kingdom. Imagine thinking you're safe in darkness, then a predator's mouth suddenly shoots towards you. This ambush system helps compensate for the shark's relatively slow swimming. It may not chase prey, but when it strikes, it does so with terrifying efficiency. The goblin shark lives hundreds, sometimes thousands of meters below the surface. This is a world of crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and near total darkness. Few animals can survive here, yet the goblin shark thrives. It feeds on fish, squid, and crustaceans, hunting where many predators cannot go. In this hidden world, patience matters more than speed. It drifts, senses, waits, then strikes. The deep sea is not empty. It's full of strange life, and the goblin shark is one of its most iconic predators. What makes the goblin shark even more incredible is how ancient its lineage is. Scientists call it a living fossil because its family traces back tens of millions of years. Long before humans existed, relatives of this shark were already moving through prehistoric oceans. While many species vanished, the goblin shark endured. It carries the design of another era, almost like a survivor from a forgotten world. Looking at it is like getting a glimpse of Earth's distant past. Despite its frightening appearance, humans almost never encounter goblin sharks. They live so deep that sightings are rare, and many are only seen when accidentally brought up by deep-sea fishing. That mystery adds to their legend. For most people, the goblin shark is less a common shark and more a rumor made real. And because it stays hidden, there is still much scientists do not fully understand about its behavior, lifespan, and reproduction. Its face has earned it a terrifying reputation. But the goblin shark is not a human hunting monster. In reality, it poses little threat to people. It simply looks frightening because it evolved for an environment we rarely see. This changes how we view it. What seems monstrous may actually be a perfectly adapted survivor. The goblin shark challenges the idea that strange means dangerous. Sometimes the weirdest creatures are simply the least understood, and maybe that is what makes the goblin shark so fascinating. It reminds us how much of the ocean remains unexplored. We know more about some parts of the moon than we do about the deep sea floor. If creatures like this still exist in darkness, what else could be down there? The goblin shark is more than a shark. It's a symbol of how mysterious our own planet still is. One of the least understood parts of the goblin shark story is how it reproduces. Unlike famous sharks that have been studied for decades, this species remains full of unanswered questions. Scientists believe it likely reproduces in ways similar to other deep-sea sharks, but direct observations are extremely rare. That mystery alone makes it fascinating. How does a species survive for millions of years while revealing so little about its life cycle? Where do young goblin sharks grow? Are there hidden nursery zones deep below the surface? These unanswered questions add a new layer to the story. The goblin shark is not only a predator we barely see, it is an animal whose earliest life stages remain largely hidden. That means even basic details about how new generations survive are still part of ongoing scientific discovery. The goblin shark does not rely only on its famous jaws to survive. Its entire body appears designed for conserving energy in a food-scarce world. In the deep ocean, prey can be difficult to find, so wasting energy can be dangerous. That is why the goblin shark's softer body and relatively slow movement may actually be an advantage. Instead of acting like a high-speed predator, it behaves more like a patient ambush specialist. It drifts, senses, and strikes only when needed. This makes it different from the fast, muscular sharks most people imagine. It is a reminder that in extreme environments, efficiency can matter more than power. Survival in the deep is often about doing less, but doing it at exactly the right moment. Beyond its appearance, the goblin shark has scientific value that goes far beyond wildlife curiosity. Its unusual sensory systems, feeding mechanics, and ancient lineage can help researchers better understand shark evolution and adaptation in extreme environments. Even its jaw mechanism has inspired interest because it moves unlike most vertebrate feeding systems. Studying species like this can reveal how life solves problems under conditions humans rarely experience: darkness, pressure, scarcity. That makes the goblin shark not just an odd creature, but a source of knowledge. Sometimes the strangest animals hold the most important clues about how evolution works. And perhaps the biggest question of all is what the goblin shark represents. If a creature this bizarre can still exist in remote depths, what other unknown species may still be hidden in the deep ocean? The goblin shark feels almost like evidence that discovery is far from over. It challenges the idea that Earth has already revealed all its major surprises. There may be other rare predators, ancient lineages, or deep-sea specialists we have barely encountered. In that sense, the goblin shark is not the end of a mystery. It may be the beginning of one. And that thought makes this creature even more compelling than its frightening face ever could. The goblin shark may look like something from a nightmare, but every strange feature tells a story of survival. Its blade-like snout senses prey in darkness. Its ghostly skin reflects life in the deep. And its shooting jaws make it one of the most unusual predators on Earth. Ancient, elusive, and almost unreal, this living fossil proves the ocean still hides creatures beyond imagination. Maybe the scariest part isn't what we know about the goblin shark, it's how much we still don't know. Far below the surface, pressure becomes immense, enough to crush many forms of life. Yet the goblin shark survives in this extreme environment. With a body adapted to conditions few animals can tolerate, its tissues and physiology help it function where pressure is constant and light is absent. This is not simply a shark living deeper than others. It is a predator built for a world fundamentally different from ours. That makes its survival even more extraordinary. The deep ocean is often described as hostile, yet for the goblin shark, it is home. Life in the deep does not offer easy meals. Prey can be scattered, unpredictable, and difficult to locate. That means the goblin shark must be opportunistic, feeding on what it can detect and capture when the moment comes. Fish, squid, and deep water organisms may all become targets. This is where its sensory tools and jaw strike work together. It does not depend on frequent feeding, but on effective feeding. That strategy is part of why it has endured for so long in an environment where every missed opportunity can matter. One reason the goblin shark seems almost mythical is because even scientists rarely encounter it. Most people know it only through rare captures or occasional footage, but that rarity itself tells a story. It shows how little direct access humans have to much of the deep ocean. Entire ecosystems remain difficult to study, and species like this often appear only by accident. That means every confirmed observation adds to what science knows. The goblin shark is unusual, not only because it looks alien, but because it still lives largely beyond regular human observation. Its appearance has made the goblin shark a favorite in documentaries, internet videos, and monster-like comparisons. Many people first encounter it as a terrifying image rather than a real species, but popular culture often exaggerates what nature already made extraordinary. The truth is more interesting than the myth. It is not a movie monster. It is an ancient predator shaped by deep-sea evolution. This point matters because understanding often begins when fear is replaced by fascination. The goblin shark looks like a nightmare, but its real story is even more remarkable than fiction. The goblin shark also represents something larger than itself. It reminds us that deep-sea ecosystems, though hidden, are still vulnerable. As human activity reaches farther into the ocean, understanding these rare species becomes more important, but it also represents wonder. Even today, our planet still holds animals that seem impossible. In an age when people think everything has been discovered, the goblin shark proves mystery is still alive. And perhaps that is why it captures so much imagination. Not because it looks frightening, but because it reminds us the unknown still exists. Even a species that has survived for millions of years faces new pressures when oceans change. Shifts in temperature, prey distribution, and deep-sea disturbance could affect how creatures like the goblin shark live in ways scientists are still trying to understand. That raises a compelling question. Can a predator built for ancient stability adapt to modern change? This adds a new dimension to the story. The goblin shark is not only a survivor of the past, but a test of resilience in the future. And because so much about its deep habitat remains difficult to study, every new discovery matters. The mystery is no longer only how it evolved, but how it may respond to a changing world. Unlike fast-swimming sharks like the mako or great white, the goblin shark has a soft, flabby body. This is not a weakness, it is an adaptation. In the deep sea, where food is scarce, conserving energy is critical. A dense, muscular body would require more calories to move and maintain. The goblin shark's flabby composition, combined with an enlarged, oil-filled liver, gives it near-neutral buoyancy. This allows it to drift almost effortlessly through the water column, using minimal energy while waiting for prey. It is a master of passive hunting, not active pursuit. Because goblin sharks live so deep, traditional tagging and observation methods are difficult. However, modern technology is changing that. Remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, and deep-sea landers equipped with cameras have occasionally captured footage of living goblin sharks in their natural habitat. These rare recordings provide invaluable data on behavior, posture, and jaw movement. Additionally, scientists study specimens caught as bycatch, measuring body proportions, dissecting stomach contents, and analyzing DNA from tissue samples. Every new sighting or specimen adds a small piece to a very large puzzle. The goblin shark is the only living species in its genus, Mitsukurina, but its family, Mitsukurinidae, has a rich fossil record. Ancient relatives like Scapanorhynchus lived during the Cretaceous period alongside dinosaurs. These prehistoric cousins looked remarkably similar to today's goblin shark, suggesting that this body plan has been successful for over 100 million years. Fossils have been found in Europe, Africa, and North America, indicating that these sharks were once far more widespread. The goblin shark is not just a living fossil, it is the last surviving branch of an ancient evolutionary tree. Unlike the large, serrated teeth of great whites, goblin shark teeth are long, narrow, and needle-like. Front teeth are designed to snag and hold soft-bodied prey like fish and squid, while back teeth are smaller and better suited for crushing crustacean shells. This dual-purpose dental arrangement allows the goblin shark to eat a varied diet depending on availability. Stomach content analyses of captured specimens have revealed remains of rat tails, dragonfish, octopus, and even crabs. Its teeth are not for tearing flesh. They are for preventing escape once the jaws have shot forward. Every predator plays a role in maintaining the balance of its ecosystem. The goblin shark is likely a mesopredator or apex predator in its bathypelagic environment, regulating populations of mid-level fish and squid. By preying on abundant species, it helps prevent overpopulation that could destabilize the food web. Additionally, because it is relatively rare and slow reproducing, its presence indicates a healthy, functioning deep-sea ecosystem. Studying its population trends could serve as an early warning system for disruptions caused by deep-sea mining or climate shifts.